Good morning. I was just sitting here talking to the cat. I have one that does that. He walks around when he's feeling some kind of way, when he's beezing. He gets up and sings and talks, and he'll go and talk to the other cats. That's really kind of interesting. Hi, my name is TushyGalore. I am a senior YouTuber. I've been on this sucker since like 2006. Why do I feel the need to announce that? I don't know. I feel like there's some kind of something that comes along with sticking with it for this long. Of course, I had years there where I would only post once in a while, but ah, some of it came out and went down my décolletage. I do have on a little nightgown thing, but it's just a little bit chilly this morning, so out came the lumberjack. All right, this is indeed another paranormal ghost type video because I'm going to tell you what I know about this one spirit. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's up in the northwest corner of the state. It's really nice. I read the other day that Fayetteville is considered one of the nicest cities in the state and coolest and all that, but it's also the most expensive to live in, and it has its drawbacks. But you go south, I don't know how many miles. It takes about 45 minutes to drive there on the highway. And there's a town of Fort Smith, Arkansas. It is very old. It boasts many interesting things, including Fort Chaffee, which a great deal of it burned down years ago. But it's where Elvis Presley got all that pretty hair shaved off, got his military cut, and there's still a little museum there. I don't know what they have in there, maybe some of his hair or the barber chair or something. I need to drop in someday and check it out. I drive by it all the time, going to pick up John's kids. So, it's kind of a strange town. It's got kind of weird energy, and I'm drawn to it in a way. It's got a river that runs through it. And back in the old days, 1800s, I guess, lots and lots of ships would come in and they'd stop and dock, I guess, or port or whatever they do. I should have done my research before I took off on making this video, but I didn't. So I'm going on just memory, folklore, and such. And it would bring in a really rough crowd of men, mostly. The women that were there, very often prostitutes and such. A lot of drinking and gambling and whoring and good times being had in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And there at the riverside, they now have the Blues Festival. And it's still a little skeevy, but it's not as wild as it once was. But it brought in some pretty rough types. And there's actually still this Victorian building there, a house that's at least 2-story, and it's Miss Laura's. They still call it Miss Laura's. It was a house of ill repute. And my mother and I once, years ago, decided to go check it out. It had been a restaurant and a bar and a this and a that, kind of traded around, and finally it was just kind of made into a museum sort of thing. I think there is a restaurant downstairs still. I don't know. It's been 25 years probably since I was there. This very nice silver-haired, proper-looking little old lady in her sweater. These little old ladies run it, and she took us around and talked to us about the girls and how they would, I don't know how they did it back in the Old West, but somehow they would affix silver dollars to their windows of their rooms so that when you walk by you can see, oh man, she must be good. She's got a bunch of coins in her window. She doesn't even need them. She just puts them in the window for decoration to show how awesome she is. So, and they were tested. Like, this was a legit business, and they were tested by, I don't know, doctor in town every, I don't remember how often, every so often, and be given a certificate that I think it said the name on it, and just to declare that you're clean, you're good, and you put it on the headboard. And it was just so fun and interesting. And she gave us each a little, photocopy or whatever of the a printout. I don't know what it was back then, of the certificate of clean health. And we thought that was rather funny. And I got something else from there. I don't remember. So it's that kind of town. They're proud of their old whorehouse. So I have a friend. Hi, Elizabeth, if you're watching. I have a friend who lives in Fort Smith, and she used to have a shop. And it was down in the old downtown, which is down near the river and all that commotion, right? And so she's also very psychic, I suppose, or clairvoyant. I don't know exactly what she would call herself, but she's legit very sensitive to spirits, and they know that she can see them, and so they cause a lot of havoc here and there in her life, and she has learned to deal with it. And she's very plucky. She's a very plucky lady, and so she would be at her shop after hours. Um, she had a yarn shop, and she'd be there after hours. Shop was closed, and she'd be doing inventory or stocking or whatever she did there. And this old cowboy, grungy old cowboy, would come in and would throw her crap around and just irritate her, throwing skeins of yarn at her. And she got sick of it after enough evenings of him doing that, and she told him off and made him get out of there. But she said that people all up and down that area report seeing him, that he comes into the bars and the whatever, he just wanders around and comes in and aggravates people. And that story has stuck with me. She told me that a very long time ago, maybe 10 years ago or more. It stuck with me. It's fascinating to me. So John and I were driving through Fort Smith. I wanted to stop at a couple of places. We were coming home from leaving his kids elsewhere, another town there, a little small town. And I wanted to drive around the historic area and look at the gorgeous old Victorian houses, and that's also down by the river. And we were driving down the road where Elizabeth's shop used to be, and I mentioned the cowboy, and he says, "Yeah, I saw him once." I'm like, "How is it you haven't told me this? You have a girlfriend who is just obsessed with the paranormal, and you just kind of didn't." He's like, "Well, I don't know. I just hadn't thought about it in years." So, okay, the story was he was a teenager. I think he was 18 or 19 years old, and he was a little bit lit, well, a little drunk. Not super drunk, but he'd had a little bit. And he was wandering around. He had a friend who lived above a tattoo shop or something, and he was looking for the guy, I don't know, whatever. And he said he was alone. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was out on the street there on the sidewalk. And there was this dude. He said he had like kind of stringy hair, and he couldn't really describe much about his clothing, but he said definitely looked like cowboy hat and sort of clothing that just kind of didn't fit the era. And he said there was just something about the guy that was just off-putting, a little weird. And I don't know if he walked past him. I don't remember if he walked past the guy, but whatever the case, he looked away for just a moment and looked by, or looked back, and the guy was gone. Probably in the yarn shop, causing chaos. So I'm just fascinated. I mean, I'm almost like tempted to go down there during the workday and drop by various businesses there and just ask them about it. And I know some other haunted places that are now occupied by businesses, and I just wonder, Lord, what goes on in there? I really am curious to know, but I'm always afraid people think I'm a big weirdo and they won't want to tell me. So let's see if I can tilt this. Well, maybe a little much. Pardon me. Okay, I want to take a toot. See, this is my propane tank. It stinks. It's always got a little leak. I think it must be the nozzle. This is a sock. It's a marijuana sock. And John has a million pairs of them because I bought a bunch of them. I found them cheap somewhere and bought a bunch of packages. Okay, this tank, he used to want me to be in here with them. I'm up half the night because that's just the way I am. And I picked this up to get a little toot out of it, and well, I can't get it to do it now. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. So I put a sock on it. Anyway, that's all. I hope you enjoyed that story. If any of you are from Fort Smith or ever visit Fort Smith or know anything about it, about the haunting with the cowboy, let me know. Oh, by the way, one of the things they're most proud of is they had a judge called the hanging judge, Roy something, Bean, I forget now right offhand, but they actually have like hanging scaffolding and stuff. Like it looks like when they used to walk them up and put them, and you can walk around under it. And it's just weird. I don't think it was ever used for that purpose, but it is, I believe, very, very close to the spot where they had the original one. This guy liked to take all these ne'er-do-wells that would, I guess, come off the boats. I don't know. And just, yeah. So that's all. Love you. Bye.